And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for joining us on this finally free-for-all Friday. It's kind of a free-for-all, but we do have some structure to the show. We have a guest joining us on the 120 segment. That's going to be Greg Amundson from Gilby, North Dakota, returning guest. We'll be talking about the Root Connections event. I'm meteorologist Justin Storm with Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And hey, who's that third guy who's sometimes on here with us?
He's not here today. That would be Dean Kawasaki.
No, he's
Wysocki.
not. Not even. I
And
wish I had the sound effect.
oh well, but let me put it this way, Justin. Between my travels and the heat you were in yesterday in Baltic, I'm just glad we're both here. And because I spent most of my week with beef producers, I just want to say my t-shirt says support local, eat beef. So that's the reason for it today. Your ag director should always be talking about eating beef and supporting our local farmers.
I just had a hamburger from a local meat distributor up here for lunch today.
You know what?
It
I
was
just made
delicious.
hot dish for lunch. There's nothing more Midwestern than hot dish. And I too was using beef from a local producer.
Hey, there
Now,
you go.
are you good? Yesterday was hot. Are you okay? How you feel? Get some
Uh,
water?
you know, I'm still recovering from it. It was rough. I didn't start feeling well again until about 9 o'clock that night, and I was only out in the heat for 4 hours. But I got out of
Still,
there.
it was,
I've had heat exhaustion and heat stroke before, and I know the signs for it. So I bailed when I started seeing those signs, and it was hot. I was so looking forward to being down there until I heard how hot it was, and I was still excited to be
yeah.
down there because I wanted to go see everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a couple interviews we had to do with people, and we'll probably play those at some point throughout the upcoming week. And as one of our Here We Grow videos we did down there as well. And after
Yep.
we got all done with all of that, we had our show, and I just progressively felt myself going downhill the entire hour during that show, and it was like 2:20, and I'm like, I have to get out of this.
So
I didn't see
there's
anything that was there.
so that was going to be my question is, first of all, that is a prime reason we need to talk to people because we have been out in this heat. We have a lot of our farm community that works in it every single day. We want to talk about how they're doing.
Mhm.
And then I was going to ask you, what was your favorite thing you saw? And from the sound of it, the inside of a building when you got a chance to get out of the heat was probably your favorite thing.
I found one of the few buildings that had AC, and I just sat in there for, I'd say, probably 45 minutes. And we went over to another building and got our last few things that we had to get done there. And then I
Hmm.
was in the car, and I just sat there for 20 minutes and then jumped on the road to head home.
Done deal.
But
Yeah,
I
I
did
get
see a
that because
big
it
green
was a lot.
combine. That was cool.
So, was it all green? Because sometimes there's some farmers
Oh,
that have
no,
them
no,
that
no.
are wrapped and have like bush light and things on them. What'd you see?
Well, I saw the Fent had a bunch of stuff on display up there. I saw a few people that were in the
Oh,
tractors doing some displays, and they didn't get out of the tractor one time, so I feel for them. They probably had a nice little climate control up inside of that cab. We went and visited with Titan Machinery, so we saw a bunch of the case equipment and some other new stuff that's rolling out, and got to get hands on with the what is it? Is it the variable precision spraying on the Patriot 1200 or the 1200 gallon Patriot? Is
that's
that what
right.
that is? Yep. So
Yeah,
we got
that's
to look at that
that
and learned all about
Patriots
it.
awesome sprayer. Yep, absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah, so that was pretty fun, but I didn't get to go visit the Fent guys. I didn't get to really go look
Oh.
inside the John Deere combines and tractors, but we got up in person with a bunch of case equipment.
So, do you feel like you're a bit of a sprayer authority now? Because I got to spend time on the new horse sprayer, and maybe we could
Mm.
compare and contrast. Do you think you're up for that?
Yeah, the big thing I took away from it is that new Patriot. Uh, I asked Turner from Titan Machinery, I'm like, how often do people clip telephone poles or posts or something with 120 feet of arm length on the sprayer heads? And he's like, well, it happens more than you think, but the cool thing about this is they build them with they build them with springs and
Yes.
almost like a break off point. So if you hit something, that portion of the sprayer will bend backwards, so you don't just do all the damage at one time. You kind of have to keep going to really break it good.
Yep. Yeah, they are built for
And I don't know, is
breakaway,
that all
so that
sprayers?
does help. Most sprayers do. Everybody's got a little bit different technology. So, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of booms out there are going to be heavier metal, steel. But then now we're seeing a lot more carbon fiber booms, which are going to be a lighter weight material, which makes it easier to have that 120 foot of boom space that you talked about. So that what also changes is when you have some of that lighter composite material, you can do a better job of leveling. So I want you to, put your arms out like an airplane and think about if you go up and down rocky hills, and people on the live stream are probably dying laughing watching me move my arms like this, but
Ooh.
those tips are going to bounce out at the ends when you have such a long boom length. And so
Mm-hmm.
being cognizant of that, that changes where your spray pattern is on your sprayers. It goes up and down, above and into the crop canopy. So a lot of sprayers have different materials so that they're lighter, so that can be a concern if they're going to dip more or less. One of the things that I saw last week on the horse sprayer was that they're stay level, and they can get down to 10 inches above the crop canopy. So it was pretty impressive. And I'm sorry I
You
missed
know,
that Patriot with case, because I think there's some impressive technology on it too.
before we get to the, I want to ask you for those who missed it yesterday, your whole ordeal over the last 36 hours. But before we get to that, what you had just mentioned about that horse sprayer, I was going to ask, and it sounds like they're kind of on this path. Are there any sprayers out there that have like a gyroscope on it where it's on a pivot where the arms stay in one spot even if the body of the tractor is rocking back and forth?
That's essentially what a lot of them are getting to. They are trying to keep those booms level so that you don't have
Mm-hmm.
all of that bouncing, especially out on the end of your booms. And when you talked about that breakaway point, let's just go back to a safety moment if we could. And that is, those breakaway points work on fence posts, telephone poles, other solid stationary objects. But there was an incident in South Dakota just a couple weeks ago where an operator swung that boom around. And when you think about that pivot point, how quickly that outside boom will move, and that boom struck someone. People aren't built for that. And so we need to be
Mm-mm.
careful. We are not stationary objects. We have to be very careful in the field so that that doesn't happen to any of us.
Yeah, and also it wasn't too long ago, we had a guest on who was sharing a story about her brother, I believe it was, who was in a sprayer and didn't, I don't know if he kept on going before the booms retracted because they came in the vertical fashion or whatever, and he ended up hitting a
Yes.
telephone pole.
Yep. That was last summer. Our guest on air with us was Macy Weary. She was Miss
Mm-hmm.
Agriculture USA, and she talked about her brother. And that happens, unfortunately, more times than I think we want to know of. Is as you think about how a boom on a sprayer folds up. Again, live stream people are dying laughing because I can't talk about this without like demonstrating with my arms. But as those booms fold up, and if you're unaware of your surroundings, you could hit overhead power lines with them. So you got to be careful with it. Electricity is
Right.
dangerous.
So I had a bunch of driving yesterday to get down to Baltic because regulars know I live in Grand Forks. So I took the
Mm-hmm.
4.5 hours down, the 4.5 hours back. But you topped me.
I'm
What
afraid I did
happened, Bridgette, over
without.
the last day and a half?
I topped you without even trying. And this so ties into weather, Justin. I spent the early part of my week in San Diego with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association at their summer business meeting, doing planning ahead for also their national convention called CalCon, which will happen February 1st in 2024. Well, flying from San Diego to Denver was going smoothly until it wasn't, and we hit turbulence, and a thunderstorm was on the Denver area. So DIA was actually shut down for a while. Our plane was diverted to Colorado Springs. My 4 hour layover did not help me out to get to my flight to Sioux Falls so I could join all of you in very hot Baltic, South Dakota. And so I missed that connection by 11 minutes, 12 minutes. Um, Through a
Ooh.
comedy of errors, and United Airlines was unable to get me back to Fargo before Friday, and that would have been flying Denver to Chicago to Fargo. So
Ooh.
I had a travel buddy. She needed to get to Pier. We rented a car. I dropped her off in Pier yesterday, and then I traveled on and got home last night. Dropped off the rental car, got in my pickup, made it to my house by about 10:30 last night. So that was
So
my trip.
you flew from San Diego to
to
Denver,
Colorado
got
Springs. No,
rerouted to
to
Colorado Springs,
Colorado
drove
Springs,
back to
then to
Denver, into
Denver.
Wyoming, and then
Well, hang
all
on.
the way to
So
South
from
Dakota.
it started out from San Diego, didn't quite make it in Denver because we tried to land and they said nope, no go. Went to Colorado Springs, picked up from Colorado Springs, flew back to Denver, and that's when the um, road trip began. Which my travel companion Tay and I, if we'd have had podcast mics with, I think we could have covered a lot of ground. People probably would have tuned in for some, like a live stream on that deal. It was quite the
So,
show.
how many hours were you in the vehicle yesterday?
I don't really even know. I'm gonna go with like 12 or 13, only because you have to. Does it count when you stop to fill gas, eat, walk around the car a few times, just try to keep it going?
Yes and
It's a
no,
trip.
but I would take the time to stop and eat because you still have to get back on the road. That
You do,
is
and
a day and a half.
consuming large amount of liquids also it leads to other reasons why you have to stop the car. And I am. It's gonna sound terrible, but I'm like a big drinker when I drive because I need something to keep me busy. So this
You
is the
too?
point where I go through a lot of iced tea. A lot of iced tea.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's iced tea, folks. I'm only kidding, people. Don't get in a tizzy. I'm only kidding. Well, hey, Bridgette, we got some
Oh
fun things
my.
coming up on the show today. A handful of topics we're going to try and get to before I give those out. Program phone number on the Red Wing Shoes phone line if you want to join in on this conversation, ask any questions, 701-293-9000, or you can always reach us via email, weatherorag@flagfamily.com. We're going to be talking a little bit about preventing skin cancer on the farm, teaching our teachers tour an ag in Park Rapids and South Dakota State Fair
Mhm.
trash contest, and a couple of things from yesterday because we were booked with interviews for the whole show. Talk a little bit about West Nile virus in pets, livestock, and people, and also heat stress on cattle. So all of that and our guest that'll be coming up in our next segment, as well as a couple checks on the forecast, will be coming up here next. And our guest that'll be joining us is Greg Amundson from Gilby, North Dakota. We'll be talking about the Root Connection event and so much more. So stay tuned. Weather and Ag in Focus. We'll be right back.
They'll have you laughing right along with them. They're Bonnie and Friends.
We could be flirting with 100.
You like to flirt.
I do. How you doing?
Close to 100.
I'm doing good. How you doing, Dean?
I'm doing pretty good.
You're
there.
looking good, Dino.
In the middle of this.
There comes another memo from the boss.
Oh, man, HR again.
Did you knock it off?
Nah. Good thing he doesn't see what goes on behind the scenes.
Get a little
now.
steamy in the studio this morning.
And it's steamy outside.
Bonnie and Friends. Catch them weekday mornings beginning at 5.
Are you tired of woke investment firms trying to push their political agenda onto your money? This is Brian Kronk, financial advisor at Collins & Kronk here in Fargo. If you are through with big East Coast companies and their ESG agenda, call Collins & Kronk for a consultation. See how we build a plan based on what matters to you. Call Collins & Kronk today, 701-235-0119. That's 701-235-0119. At Collins & Kronk, you matter.
Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member, FINRA, SIPC. Collins & Kronk is not a broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services.
The 4th of July may be over, but Red Wing Shoes is throwing a summer blowout sale like no other. Hi, Teresa here from the Fargo Red Wing Shoe Store. From work boots to hiking boots, even going out on the town boots. For a limited time, choose from select styles only, 30 to 80% off regular price. Why pay more when you can get footwear you need for less? Our summer blowout sale ends August 15th, so hurry in. 3003 Main Avenue in Fargo. Red Wing Shoes for ultimate durability.
If you're planning a big event for this summer, maybe it's a work function or you have a family gathering too big to host at your house, let O'Kelly's be the spot. Whether it's a grad party, groom's dinner, wedding reception, O'Kelly's has the space to make it great. And they will cater the whole thing with delicious food, a great outdoor setting by the pool, or indoors where everything is taken care of. They are attached to the Biltmore Inn, so out-of-towners even have a place to stay. Don't worry about anything. Talk to Tori at O'Kelly's, I-29 in Maine, in Fargo.
Hey, it's Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki. Join me, Justin Storm, and Ag Director Bridgette Readel throughout the summer as we attempt to grow a crop of soybeans. We're calling it Here We Grow, and we'll be documenting what it takes to farm in the Red River Valley and beyond. Look for new videos every Friday on WDAYRadioNow.com, our YouTube channel, and social media pages. Here We Grow is brought to you in part by Steffes Group, Red Wing Boots, and WDAY Radio.
It's the Summer Ag Iron Auction 2023. It's time again for another Ag Iron event at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds in West Fargo. Mark your calendars for Wednesday, July 26th. That's Wednesday, July 26th. This is one of the largest auctions of the year, attracting buyers from all over the U.S. and Canada. And there will be live and internet bidding. Go to steffesgroup.com right now for more information, and we'll see you at the Red River Valley Fairgrounds in West Fargo, Wednesday, July 26th, for another Ag Iron event from Steffes Group. That's STEFFES Group.com.
Jay, you're a car guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
When your car breaks down, you want a towing company you can trust, right?
Absolutely, Kelsey. I want a local company that's experienced, provides fast, reliable service no matter the situation, and available 24/7.
Exactly. I'm Kelsey Lomsdahl, owner of Aggressive Towing and Recovery, family owned with 15 years of experience. A name you can trust. You may not need us right now, but when you do, there's only one name you need to know: Aggressive Towing and Recovery. Online at aggressivetow.com.
What do eyewear and weather have in common? Join us for the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast to find out. Each Tuesday morning, Dean Wysocki, Justin Storm, and myself, Ashley Freeborn, owner of Aspire Optical, will bring you the 7-day forecast.
You never know where we'll be or how it will be presented, but we promise to bring you the most accurate forecast this side of the Red River.
And learn how you can save big on eyewear from Aspire Optical.
Watch the Aspire Optical Eye on the Sky weekly weather forecast on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter pages.
Trust us, this is weather and eyewear like you've never seen.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
Welcome back to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director. And I think he's happily joining me, and that would be Justin Storm, meteorologist. We are thrilled that you are here today because, well, after our adventures in the last couple of days, we're just happy to be inside where it's kind of cool. And we're going to talk about that weather coming up, too, what it's going to look like for the weekend. Meanwhile, a giant thank you to our sponsors for our Here We Grow project, Red Wing Shoes. Y'all do a fabulous job of getting us outfitted for going to the field. And in fact, every chance we get to wear them out there, we're really enjoying the fact that we have comfortable shoes that keep us from getting wet or dusty. All the above. See the team at Red Wing Shoes on Main in Fargo. They'll help you as well get what you need. And secondly, Gowan Company. So there's been a lot of products sprayed for white mold as of late. Hopefully you've had the chance to use Aphiance fungicide. Provides 2 modes of action for white mold control in your soybeans and other crops. And our soybeans so far, fingers crossed, looks like disease free, but we're going to keep a close eye on them for insects which are moving into the region. And we can talk a little bit about that from our guest today and what's going on his farm. And our guest is Greg Amundson. He farms at Gilby, North Dakota. For those of you who follow him on Twitter, he's ND Rock Farmer because he says, yeah, I got crops and I got rocks. Hey, Greg, how are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Doing
Fabulous.
well, enjoying the refreshing weather.
It's a nice change from the last couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
So, as a busy farmer, are you parked at the edge of the field? I see you're in your pickup today.
Yeah, actually today, since it rained 2 nights ago, we can't combine rye. I actually got put to work helping my wife their new office they're moving into. So, fun times.
Glad you picked a cooler day to haul furniture around, Greg. Just saying.
Well, I'm glad too.
So, Greg, you and I had a conversation here a few weeks ago because you have this wonderful idea called the Root Connections, an event at your farm. Want to start to describe that, how this came about, where the idea sprang from?
Yeah, I guess to back up, growing up, I've always thought there's a disconnect between farmers and urban.
Mm-hmm.
Rural, urban, the whole divide. And it's gotten worse over the years. I've noticed that. Up in my area, everyone's probably heard of the Fufeng debate. We'll leave it at that. But after seeing that,
And that was the corn mill that was proposed outside of Grand Forks.
yes,
Just so
yep,
we
that
clarify
was
what that was.
that was the wet corn mill plant on the north side of Grand Forks. So after seeing what went down with some of that and some of the attitude of people, it seemed like the not in my backyard, and the everyone wants to eat but nobody wants to consume attitude. So after seeing that and getting very frustrated, and I hear a lot of people go to a lot of conferences and stuff that say we need to educate the public. No, we don't need to educate anyone. That's a false narrative. We need to make connections. It's all about the connections. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So if you hear something, it's, well, I know a farmer and this isn't right, or hey, this doesn't seem right because from the people I know. So it's all about connections. So that's where this all started from. We're just gonna give it a try. It's kind of out of the box. I've kind of known for neighbors think I'm nuts anyways, so it doesn't matter. We're just gonna go for it. That's kind of how it all started, and we're just gonna see how it goes. And we're calling it Root Connections because on our farm we do a lot of no-till kind of / regenerative, / crazy things. So that's where the roots come into it, and then the connections. I just want to try to get people involved. You don't know what you don't know. If you don't know a farmer or you don't know so and so, you don't know.
I think there's a huge opportunity for people to ask questions and get involved. And you and I talked a while back because you got asked a bunch of questions by folks that live in your Grand Forks community. So would that be kind of like where this brainchild came from, was when you were on that panel? And do you kind of want to give a little background on what that was about in Grand Forks here earlier this year?
Yeah, so I was on a panel at UND. They had a showing of Kiss the Ground. If you've never seen it before, I'd kind of recommend it. It's kind of, the book is better. It's kind of Hollywood version, but on the video. But I know some of the people in the video, and I was asked to be on this panel and help talk about, from the farmer's side of view. And I could kind of see the disconnect there. And I tried to explain my point as good as I could. And that's just kind of, I just slowly built up that, hey, we need to do something here.
Mm-hmm. I really like what you're saying. For so long, those of us in ag have heard the declarative statement, you have to tell your story. You got to tell people what's going on. I agree. How about we listen to the consumer, and how about we invite everybody out really to see what's going on? You're not holding anything back. You're showing off equipment and your fields, and you're being very open about what you do on your farm, Greg.
Yep, I've always been open to everyone. I'll pass out business cards for our farm, and tell anyone I meet, if you want to come out to the farm, we can ride in the tractor, you can drive, you can ask questions, see the farm, tour, anything. I'll show you around. To this point, I've gotten involved with a couple groups, and I've said that to people, and as of yet, I still haven't get anyone to take me up on the offer. So that's why we're trying to get this involved, and we're trying to use local food and just local connections. So during this event, I want everyone trying to wear a name tag, but I don't care about your name. Don't want to hear a thing about your name. What's your occupation? Because I want to connect. Okay, you're a plumber. I want to connect you with, I want, that's my common connection. So as a farmer, I can walk up to any farmer, no matter what they farm, where they're from, we have a bond. We have a connection already. So what I'm trying to do is, if I already know the occupation of someone, that's our connection right there. I can start off a conversation because that's our connection. So I'm just trying to connect people. I guess I use that term a lot, but that's really what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I got a question, Greg.
Oh, hold on, Justin. He said something about driving equipment. I just want to know if you're going over there so you can drive equipment for a change, Justin.
I might be, but then he's gonna want me to come back and drive more through the fields and plant and harvest and.
Well, I've had people before come out the field. We had an intern for NRCS last year that from Louisiana came out. He wouldn't drive the tractor, but he went for a ride. And I'm willing to let people drive. During planting, I've actually had people run the planter before. Here, it's all this here. Just have at it.
Yep, just keep going. I want to know, Greg, what do you think in your opinion, one or two of the big disconnects are between farming and urban?
One disconnect is it seems to me a lot of people I talk to think the farmers are out to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I mean, well, you're spraying all these pesticides, you're doing all this runoff. You hear about runoff a lot in the water. So what it comes down to, at the event, we're going to have a water infiltration table. If you've never seen this before, they dump an inch of rain on a field fast and see how much water runs off and what the color that's everything runs off. Well, we're going to do one with the lawn, and we're going to do one with food dyed fertilizer, because a lot of people fertilize their lawn and spray their lawn. I want them to see that, hey, there's fertilizer and stuff running off your lawn too. So that's one of the big things I see is, they think, we're the bad guys when they use just as many or more chemicals than we do, but nobody knows that. None. That's never brought to the forefront. That people, their kids are playing on the yard that you sprayed with. That you're probably coming in more contact and chemical than I do in a day. You're, different things like that. So we're just trying to make connections there. That, hey, we're not out trying to kill you. And like when it comes to food, we're going to one of my fields, it's a non-GMO corn field. But I'm going to point out that, hey, my other field right across the coulee is Roundup Ready. Do you see much of a difference here? And when it comes down to it, I have family in Iowa or my wife's family in Iowa would say stuff say stuff to me about the farming practices, and I'd say, if I didn't think it was safe, I wouldn't feed it to my kids.
Right. Yep.
So if I won't feed it to my kids, I won't grow it.
Right.
So when it comes to the crops we choose, I try to find the best crop, the best type of that crop we can, because I want the best quality product in the end.
Greg, we've got lots more to
agree.
talk about. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. We are talking about the Root Connections event with Greg Amundson of Gilby, North Dakota. We'll be right back to keep that conversation going. If you want to join us and ask anything, please do at 701-293-9000.
And Ronnie.
Now, I was going to go out on a limb because I saw this on the Big Bang Theory television show.
What was your guess?
A dickie. The little fake, like you're wearing a turtleneck thing?
Yeah. Because every time I see a dickie or I hear the word dickie, I think of...
And plus,
what do you think of?
And plus, it's a funny word.
The Coffee Club, weekdays 8:30 to 11 on AM 970 and 93.1 FM WDAY.
So you just used bug spray in your home. Now what? Well, between the waiting and waiting for things to dry up and keeping your family away from the mess, it hits you. You could have used Zevo. Unlike other bug sprays that stick around, Zevo goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Here's a message just for the attorneys out there. So you passed the bar, joined a firm, or even built your own. Now are you finding out that you're doing more administration than actual law practice? Lexicon can help. Lexicon is a legal technology provider with over a decade of experience streamlining administrative tasks like timekeeping, billing, and more, so you can focus on maximizing billable hours and increasing client satisfaction. Call 855-4-LEXICON or visit lexiconservices.com/go to learn more.
The recent hailstorm came fast and furious. If you know or even think your vehicle acquired hail damage, bring it to Bailey's Auto Body. Hi, I'm Kevin Bailey, and I want to invite you to stop by for a free inspection. Our staff is trained to identify all types of hail damage. From dents to damaged moldings and glass, we are your hail experts. We specialize in paintless dent repair and have repaired thousands of vehicles. Free estimates, no appointment needed. Bailey's Auto Body, north of the Cass County Jail, or online at baileysfargo.com.
Just take it to Bailey's.
paid non-attorney spokesperson. Are you over the age of 60 and been diagnosed with lung cancer? If so, you and your family may qualify for a cash award. Our experienced attorneys are standing by to evaluate whether you have a lung cancer claim that qualifies you for a cash award. The consultation is absolutely free, and there is no risk and no money out of pocket. We only receive a fee when we secure you and your family a settlement. 250,000 people are diagnosed with lung cancer every year. You're not alone in this battle. We can help make sure that you and your family are financially safe and that medical expenses are covered. Again, if you've been diagnosed with lung cancer and are over age 60, call now. Don't delay. There are deadlines for filing claims. We're standing by 24/7. Call us at 1-844-903-1744. 1-844-903-1744. That's 1-844-903-1744. Attorney advertising. William Stephacker Jr. is the attorney responsible for this ad. Main office, Granton, Pennsylvania. May not be available in all states.
Hey, it's Bonnie and Estati from Bonnie and Friends. Join us weekday mornings beginning at 5. Coming up in our next show, we're going to be chatting with Minnesota State Patrol Sergeant Jesse Grabo. Time again for We Fest. Actually runs Thursday, August 3rd through Saturday, August 5th. The traffic will be lining up Monday already. We'll chat about it. And Big Game James McCarty and Jace Denman have been at Vikings training camp. How'd the team look? We will ask. All this and more in the next Bonnie and Friends beginning at 5 a.m. Join us.
Yeah, welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us. It's 1:35 on this finally Friday afternoon. Quick check on the forecast out there. 71 degrees, mainly cloudy here in the FM metro. Got a few scattered showers pushing off into Minnesota. We'll see temperatures ticking up a little bit into the upper 70s for the rest of the day. North winds about 5 to 15 miles per hour. And as for the weekend, not looking too bad. Mid to upper 70s on Saturday, partly cloudy, slightly breezy, a few gusts to 20, but lighter wind on Sunday. A few showers in the morning to maybe early afternoon. Then partly cloudy the rest of the day with highs right around 80. We're rejoining our conversation now with Greg Amundson, Gilby, North Dakota, and we're talking about the Root Connection event where we're trying to, or where I should say Greg is trying to get that disconnect a little less between rural agriculture and urban. And I was wondering there, Greg, what can you tell me a little bit more about the event that you're going to be having? When is it, and is there any RSVPs or anything like that, and where is it going to be at?
Yeah, so it's August 10th. It starts at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're trying to do it on a weekday before people go to the lake. It'll be 1 in the afternoon, so people, if they're after work, they come out. We're starting at 4 o'clock. We're going to take a people mover from my farm. We're in Gilby, North Dakota. My farm is just 30 miles from Grand Forks, approximately. And so we're going to start there at 4 o'clock. If anyone wants to show up and go out to a field, we'll have maybe a root pit, show my corn, show the growing corn, show what we're doing in the field. Maybe my agronomist will be there, try to get some people to talk, different things. Just try to make connections of what's going on to disconnect. Everyone drives by the field, but they don't honestly know what's going on half the time. And then at 5 o'clock, we'll come back to the farm, to my farm shop there, and we'll have machinery out. We'll have, I think my dad will probably be giving rides in the big track tractor to anyone that wants. We'll have, some snacks, beverages, no alcohol. This is going to be an alcohol-free family event. So, sorry for anyone that's interested, but we're gonna, you know who you are. But anyways, so we're gonna have hold on, shoot.
Yeah,
Okay,
poor Greg probably got a phone call right there in the middle of all that.
No, actually, I found my wallet and my tile rang my phone. So, but no, so we'll start at 5 o'clock and we'll have people come out, have some snacks, and my local Grand Forks County Soil Conservation and NDSU, who's helping me out a lot with this, or they're doing a lot of the work. We're gonna have a booth set up, something for the kids to do. Just to learn and talk. We'll have a raised garden for people to look at. We'll probably have a sensory table type thing set up with corn in it and farm toys for the kids to play in. All sorts of things. You can tour my farm. We got trees galore, new tree plantings. There'll be a lot of stuff to do. It's just a matter of getting stuff orchestrated and just making connections. And there'll be plenty of people around with name tags on. Just walk up and start connection. making connections. We're going to have kind of a bingo card probably type of thing where you talk to 3 different other professions. You just write down the professions other than your own. And at the end, we'll probably have a drawing for, 20, 50 pounds of locally grown meat, pork, stuff like that. So we're trying to promote local here, but we're also trying to promote basically just agriculture.
Right? Is it just anyone show up or any RSVP? And if so, where do they go to do that?
Well, I'm a farmer, so I know how it goes. A lot of times I just show up, invited or not. I understand that. But actually, they're asking for RSVPs just so we make sure we have enough food. That's the biggest thing. We're going to do a picnic style meal. I got beef patties. They're processed at Castleton USDA facility, but they're local farm kid that raises it all. So we're trying to get local food here. So we're just trying to get an RSVP mainly just for that reason. So we know that we have enough to feed everyone.
So hang on though, Greg. I got to go back to something you mentioned, and you said a root pit. Okay, I know what that means.
Yeah.
Justin, have you ever heard the term root pit before?
I guess I can't say I have.
Okay, Greg.
Yeah, I guess
explain it.
So I will back up and explain that this is one of my problems, and this is why we're trying to make connections. So
this
as
is
a farmer, well, no, but in reality it is, because as a farmer we use terms like root pit, which we think is a germane term, but a lot of people don't understand that. And I invited a bunch of people out the other day to ride in the combine or get some rye. Take some rye home. They can make their own, flour and stuff, whatever they want to do. And NDSU, Caitlin over there told me, well, maybe they don't know what a combine is. They're intimidated by it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. You got to explain what a combine is. I'm like, in my world, and that's where we need to be better at this. I don't think about stuff like that. So what a root pit is we'll go out with a backhoe or the track hoe, so another big boy toy, and we'll just go out there and basically dig in the ground 3-4 feet so that people can see what the roots are doing in the ground, what my no-till soil looks like. After I think this field's 6 years of no-till, so we can look at what the soils look like. People can see what goes on under the soil, because what goes on under soil affects what goes on above the soil.
It really does. And especially in a dry year like we've had, Greg, versus what we normally see, looking at what your soil profile, as you watch from the soil surface going down into that pit, looking at what that soil structure looks like will be very interesting this year. So all of you soil geeks out there better show up in force.
Well, even not the soil geeks, just to learn that, hey, everything in this world comes from the soil. All the crops, everything has to do with healthy soil. Whether we can all debate on the terms on that and how we accomplish stuff like that, but everything comes down to the roots. So that's why we're calling this root connections, because we're talking about the soil, how it affects our local food, and affects everything.
Speaking of the no-till practices, I actually just saw a fun little video on Facebook the other day of comparing 2 fields. One was no-till, the other one was tilled every year, and they took, I think, just a little mesh, like half cup of soil from each field, and they put it in a water bottle and suspended it in the water and let it sit there for 3 minutes. And the no-till, all the soil was still in the same clump in the little mesh sitting in the mesh on top of all the water, while the tilled soil, about 75% of it was at the bottom of that little water bottle, and just the bigger gravelly chunks of dirt were still left in the mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, that is huge, and that's kind of why we're doing the infiltration table. If you've never seen it before, it's amazing to watch, because you see exactly what goes through the soils, what comes off the soil, what color everything is, how much soil goes with it, how much nutrients go with it. It's eye-opening. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to get a yard to show you that, hey, it's not just farmers that are causing runoff.
And how it affects your garden. Because the things that you're doing in a large scale practice are the same thing that the home gardeners are doing too, Greg, and what we can be doing differently in both sides of that equation. I think that's pretty awesome. And I'm planning on being there, so that means it's going to storm. Just look out for the weather that day. I'll be coming from Bismarck, though, and one of the things I want to do is I had an opportunity to make a connection with a gentleman from the National Corn Growers Association this week, which is an organization Greg works with. And he sent me a whole list of kids items, activity sheets, and so forth. So I'm going to want to print those out and bring them along so I can share those so that the learning doesn't stop. We can have those right there and we can take them on home with us too. So I think that would be great for people to stop by. Lots going on.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. And go ahead, Greg.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I mean, we've never done this before. It's kind of an off the cuff idea. We're just going to see where it goes.
Right on.
I'm inviting neighbors and just sending out flyers and anyone that wants to come.
Yeah, well, I hope you get a good turnout for it. And one more time, where can people go to get more information about this for your Root Connections thing and the date again for when you're going to be having it?
Yeah, I'm not for I'll be honest with you, I'm not for sure as far as where to find it. We've sent out a lot of emails and flyers are hanging up at places, but NDSU Extension out of Grand Forks County, Caitlin is a good one, and I see Bridget just got her hand up.
I can, you sent me the invite, Greg, so
Yep.
I can go and put that out on our Facebook page for Weather and Ag in Focus. In fact, I'm currently scrolling through my messages to find that, and I can then transfer it over to our Facebook. I think.
Perfect.
I hope so.
Yeah. So like I said, we're 30 miles from Grand Forks. I know it's a ways out of town. People think, oh, it's a long trip. A lot of times I can get out to the farm faster than I can almost get across. I could get the farm faster than I could get across Fargo. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's
you
exactly
are not
true.
wrong. And I make that drive almost every day, not to your farm, but from Grand Forks to Fargo, and even that hour drive really isn't that far of a drive. It goes by so fast. Especially if you got a great event that's coming up.
Well, and for the discussion points, you want to look at a farm equipment. Often farm shows are held during the week when everybody's at work because that's operating hours for farmers. So now you want to be able to take off and see that. Like Greg said, you want to know what a combine looks like. How big is a grain cart? Well, it's time to stand next to one, take a look at it, and ask why it exists, how it works, those types of things. Here's your opportunity to do that right live on the farm. And again, that's going to be Thursday, August 10th at Greg Amundson's. And I found the email, Greg. I think now I just got to figure out how to log into Facebook and be Weather and Ag in Focus so I can post this.
No, well, thank you very much. It's just, I'm just hoping to make connections. That's all it is. The more people you know, it helps you out in the end.
Absolutely.
Right on, Greg. Well, appreciate you coming on here, telling us about the event that's coming up, and maybe we can get you on for like a quick little 5-10 minute heads up a day or two before the event happens. As just one more little reminder, and hope you get a good turnout up there.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, and I appreciate everything you guys have done.
No problem, Greg. You have a great rest of your day. We're going to check up with the American Ag Network real quick when we come back on all of our ag topics and a check on the forecast, so the lightning round is next.
Kingpins has a very special Sunday lunch offer from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This Sunday, Kingpins will donate 50% of food and beverage proceeds to the Leadership Care Fund to the families of the officers affected by the recent incident. All those delicious lunch specials, salads, soups, and fantastic desserts going for a great cause. This Sunday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., 50% of food and beverage proceeds will go to the families of the officers affected by the recent incident. Kingpins, Jack's Way South, east of I-29, this Sunday.
Mixed activity in the markets. This is the American Ag Network of Jesse Allen with this market update. As we're talking now with Arlen Suderman, Chief Commodities Economist at StoneX for our market analysis. Arlen, let's start with the graded oilseed trade. And it's been a little volatile here today. We were sharply lower to start, then we trying to rally back. Now we're kind of falling back a little bit again. It's just kind of this up and down, back and forth trade. It feels like grains don't quite know exactly which way to go today.
Yeah, a bull market needs to be fed every day, and what really fed the rally here over the past week to 10 days has been the Russian attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure, and that pace has really slowed, so we're losing kind of that fresh fodder to feed the bulls on a daily basis. The issue hasn't gone away, but the impetus to find new buyers certainly has near term, as many of the shorts had already covered their positions. So we're seeing kind of a weakness in a lot of headwinds headwinds for the grain and oilseed complex, with the path of least resistance being lower thus far going into the weekend.
Arlen, we also got some interesting economic data out here today. Could you talk about that a little bit? A good day on Wall Street.
Yeah, we're certainly seeing that euphoria continue in the stock market. Personal income was up 0.3% month on month in June, and that was a little bit down from trade expectations, but still doing pretty well. Personal consumption expenditures were up 0.5% month on month in June. That exceeded expectations, so people are spending more and that pretty much fits also with what we saw in yesterday's GDP data that came in much stronger than expected for the second quarter. The PCE price index, which is the measure of inflation that the Fed prefers to look at, continuing to trend lower for the headline number, showing 3% year-on-year inflation in the month of June.
That's Arlen Suderman of StoneX on the American Ag Network.
Pucklet Chevrolet Buick GMC in Valley City makes it easy to find your next Chevrolet Buick GMC or pre-owned vehicle by offering a great selection at our best prices possible.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus here on WDAY. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with meteorologist Justin Storm. And man, there's just so much going on that we get to talk about. We're going to have to start with a couple of ag headlines. And I think probably the most relevant to this point is the fact that farmers and ranchers are most at risk for things like skin cancer. If you read the statistics, we are expecting to see a high increase in melanoma cases here in the upper northern plains. We also think about, well, there's so much of the year that we're covered up because it's cold out. But yet when the sun comes out and we all are exposed to intense sunlight, we are some of the higher percentages of people who do suffer from melanoma. So to farmers and ranchers, and including on days like yesterday when it was super hot, even though you might not want to do it, put on that sunscreen. Don't forget about wearing a wide brim hat. Your baseball hats leave your neck and your ears exposed, and without protection on those, bad things can happen. It sounds hot to wear a long sleeve shirt, but I have lots of ranchers that prefer to do that to keep the sun off them, keeps them cooler and keeps them from getting ill with something like melanoma. So just a reminder to people to stay a little healthy. And Justin, along with that, how much sunlight are we going to have this weekend?
Well, we're going to be getting in a fair amount, but there is going to be a few periods where there are more clouds around than there is sun throughout the day, and we'll break that down here. And this afternoon is one of those. We're dealing with leftover cloud cover from some showers that passed through, and they're now moving through Lakes Country. And for the most part, rain hasn't added up to much, about 200ths to about 600ths of an inch within about a 20-mile radius of the FM Metro. Highest amounts were found west by Valley City at about 0.15 inches of rain. Yeah, we're basically done for rain for the rest of today, outside of a few pockets of a little light drizzle for the next hour or so. So what you got's what you got. It's better than no rain at all, so at least we got something. Increasing amounts of sunshine is what I expect for the rest of today. Temperatures are at 71 right now, upper 60s, low 70s for the most part here in the valley north of I-94. A little warmer down to our south in the mid 70s, and we'll see temperatures peaking about 79, 80 degrees here with a north wind 5 to 15. And again, skies will go mainly sunny by the end of today, or at least I expect them to at least by this evening. For tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the upper 50s. Wind will go light and pick back up. Similar to today, a few gusts to 20 throughout your Saturday afternoon. It'll be partly cloudy to partly sunny at times with highs in the mid to upper 70s. And as for Sunday, we'll get a line of showers coming through overnight Saturday. Those will most likely affect us in the morning hours of your Sunday. Could see a few linger into the afternoon, but I expect that we will dry out throughout Sunday afternoon, back to partly cloudy conditions and temperatures right around 80. And as for next week, we're going to get at least 3 more days of some warmer temperatures. We'll be in the mid 80s on Monday, it looks like, mid to upper 80s on Tuesday, and right around 90 on Wednesday. And there will come again another chance for some spotty, isolated showers or storms Tuesday and Wednesday. So our next chance for rain comes.
That temperature.
Yeah, our next chances for any measurable rain are going to come Sunday morning, and then a few spotty things on Tuesday and Wednesday is what it looks like. So we're staying dry for the most part.
We really are. And as I did my cross Midwestern tour in the last few days, I saw a lot of hay being made in like Western South Dakota because it's the time. And they're also making more bales than they typically do. They've had those spotty showers that really resulted in nice looking pastures and good hay crop for them.
Oh,
Whereas
cool.
as you move to central South Dakota and as you come up through the central part of North Dakota, you can see some dry conditions. Yesterday, as you were listening to us here on Weather and Ag in Focus, we talked about pineapple and corn and what that means. And that's a symptomology of very dry conditions in our corn crop. It's happening from time to time. So Justin, I'm relying on you to bring us that timely weather so we get some nice rainfall when we need it. That's going to be important.
Yeah, I just remember when we were at the Ag Expo or Hefty Seeds Field PhD Day down in Baltic. They had their display crops, and he's like, yeah, that one over there doesn't look really good, but this one right here is looking amazing, even though it's been dry. And I just leaned over to the dude. I'm like, I bet you've watered it every day too, haven't you? I don't think he liked that comment.
Well, I think they might have been babysitting it just a little bit for show.
Just
How's
a
that
little
sound?
bit. I mean, the corn did look amazing. It was 12 feet tall.
Well,
Dean thought it was ultra tall corn.
yeah, well, I hate to tell Dean this, but that's normal corn. He just doesn't know it. So,
I think he's used to seeing our corn up here that only gets 4 or 5 feet tall.
Only in your garden. I mean, regular corn's that tall, guys, and silage corn will get taller. Just heads up.
Right.
By the way, I feel like an absolute genius because I figured out how to get Greg's invite that we just talked about for the Root Connections event on our Facebook page. So look at me, big technology savvy today.
Hey, look at you. All that training is paying off.
I'm like a real kid, big kid now, right? But I still can't do TikTok. I'm not
Now I
there.
need you to convert that PDF or I need you to convert that file to a PDF file for me.
There is a very high likelihood that is never going to happen. I just want you
We'll
to
work on that after the show. Let's hit on another ag topic, Bridgette. We touched on the skin cancer for farmers, but what about the West Nile virus in pets, livestock, and people? What can you tell me about this? Because I know it's been confirmed in Grand Forks and Wahpeton. I think there was another spot where they tested mosquitoes that it came back positive as well.
Okay, so if I eat up the rest of the show talking about West Nile virus, I apologize, but here's my deal. First of all, we can indeed vaccinate horses for West Nile. West Nile has been here in the North Dakota area since the 90s. We have had some years of high spikes in West Nile cases in humans. If you see birds out on the farm or even on your lawn just laying dead, but they look intact, there is a real strong possibility they were bit by a mosquito and that bird can be infected with West Nile the same as a horse can. Now, others may say, but the mosquitoes came on late after we had some rain, or I haven't seen hardly any at all. The mosquito that happens to carry the West Nile virus is prevalent in dry years, not wetter years. And we typically see them later in season, this July, August timeframe. They're going to stick around until a frost. Here's the part where Bridgette gets real stern. Dump your extra water that might be standing. Spray around shrubbery where you don't want to have mosquitoes hanging out. Cover up, make sure that you are wearing your bug spray, etc. Because West Nile virus is a true illness. I never want to hear another person tell me, it's just a sickness, or it only affects old people. And here's why. If you are me and you watched your dad lie in ICU for 6 months and die from just a virus that opened up a portal to so many other problems in his body that at 58 years old, he passed away, I'm going to tell you right now to put the bug spray on because West Nile is real. It acts as a portal into your body for a lot of other diseases and problems to happen, and you don't want that. Now, because it is a virus, it's hard to have a human vaccine for it, especially because we most recently all know the controversy that surrounds vaccines and viruses and everything that goes with it. But this is something we can protect ourselves from, and that would be avoiding the mosquito bite. Hats off to vector control in many cities who do trap counts, and they can tell us when West Nile can be confirmed. Just like you mentioned, Justin, Grand Forks, Wahpeton, believe me, there's mosquitoes in between that. They just haven't been confirmed yet. So Bridget's off her soapbox now. Y'all better? I am.
Well, thanks for all that great information, Bridget. Really appreciate it. And I think that is a big thing that people don't really think about is that's just a mosquito bite, but it can lead to so much worse, even if it is just your typical mosquito bite, especially up here and in places where it's been confirmed. And thankfully they've been out and they've done some spraying of recently, and hopefully that kind of helps limit that, because I know at the beginning of the year, most of June, May, up in Grand Forks, I didn't see one mosquito spray truck at all, and they were absolutely terrible. And I know that people in Fargo were saying the same thing. You would get attacked by swarms of them and no spraying. So I'm just glad that they started.
Yeah, and that's what our vector control people do, and they do a great job. So again, hats off to them for what they do.
Really appreciate it. But I think that's going to wrap it up for us here on a kind of free-for-all Friday. We're back tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I ain't working on a Saturday.
Monday.
Let's call it a Monday.
Yeah, it's Monday.
Yeah, let's do Monday. That sounds like a better date to me, from 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Dean may or may not be here. We're not sure at this point yet, but if he is, we'll be sure to thank him for stopping by. So look forward to seeing y'all on Monday. The Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.
AM 970 and FM 93.1, WDAY, Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo.